You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. We are so happy to have you with us. Today is December 11th, 2024. It's a Wednesday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, coming to you today from Madison Grant High School. Producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. This is the boys basketball scoreboard for Tuesday's games and Wednesday's previews. There were only 2 games on an unusually slow Tuesday, but we do have a full report from the Eastbrook Southern Wells game from Marion Chronicle sports editor Scott Hunt. We also have just one game Wednesday. We will preview Anderson Prep Cambridge City after we talk about Tuesday's games at Eastbrook and Burris. We started at Eastbrook, where the Panthers won for the second straight game to improve to 2-2 with a 70-43 win over Southern Wells. Despite being without junior Bodie Howell and senior Draven Collins, their top 2 players, who were out sick. The Panthers led 39-25 at the half, then outscored the Raiders 31-18 in the final 16 minutes. It's the first time Eastbrook has topped 70 points since beating Elwood 75-70 in December of 2021. Senior Reed Opperly led Eastbrook with 20 points, and sophomore Jaden Younts had 17, including a season-high 5 3-pointers. He had made 4 in each of the Panthers' first 3 games. Also for the Panthers, freshman Caden Jones finished with 11, and sophomore Kyler Hackman scored 10 in the stead of Howell and Collins. Scott Hunt of the Marion Chronicle was at the game and has a report for us.
Yeah, offensively, the 70 points they scored was the most they've had in a game since they played Elwood in 2021. In December of 2021, they scored 75. But a lot of that offensive production came from really good defensive performance. It was a little slow start for Eastbrook, which is to be expected when your 2 most experienced players and your second and third leading scorers are out sick. So you got to turn to some kids that are probably splitting time on the JV team, varsity team for at least, first part of the season. One in particular, Kyler Hackman, started at point guard, and Matthew Slater, who's had some varsity experience as a junior, started at the other guard. And Southern Wells scored 18 points, led 18-17 after the first quarter. Coach Liddick said in between quarters, what he asked the kids to do was just to communicate better on the defensive end. That was the one place that it really hurt them in the first quarter was Bodie Howell, who's the one of the leaders on the team and probably the loudest voice when it comes to that kind of thing. With him not being there, that kind of hurt them defensively. Well, they turned up the defense and went on an 11-0 run to go from 2 down to 9 up, and then they finished the quarter with a 9-2 run and a 39-25 halftime lead. Kid that was really impressive really the whole night, but in that third quarter particularly was Reed Opperly, senior, was a 6th or 7th man last year, played a couple games as a sophomore. He had 12 points just by running the floor. He did a nice job getting on the boards. Southern Wells had a 6'5" sophomore kid that was a really strong. Joshua Albach is his name, and he had a nice game. They had Southern Wells had a couple of nice players. Albach had 18 and 12 boards for them, and but Reed he was kind of the backbone of the defense and did a nice job on the boards. He had 12 points in that second quarter. career high 20 for the game on 10 of 12 shooting. Most of it, well, not most, all 20 of his points came from in the lane, around the bucket. He just did a nice job of finding space, and Hackman and Jaden Younts and Eastbrook's guards. Really, Eastbrook's kind of, it's the first time I've seen him this year. They call them guards and forwards, but really they're that kind of modernized positionless basketball team where kids can just play all over the floor, and it was really impressive. Eastbrook shot 51% for the game, 29 field goals, but they had 19 assists on 29 field goals, which is really pretty good for a high school basketball team.
What did Coach Liddick have to say after the game, Scott?
Just that was there was a lot to be encouraged about, given that the two starters were down. They're down two starters. His starting backcourt. Once they started communicating on defense, that opened up everything that they were able to do last night. I mentioned Hackman. In his first varsity start of his career, had 10 points, 5 boards, and led the team with 5 assists. Jaden Younts, who's been the Panthers' leading scorer, matched his season high with 17 points. He also had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. And then Offerly was with 20. They had really the third quarter. They when they put the game away, they closed the third quarter with a 20-6 run, and 11 of those points came from freshman Caden Jones, who knocked down a couple of threes and hit 3 threes and had a 2, and had 4 steals in the run, and was really impressive. Everybody that got in the game for Eastbrook did something positive to help contribute to the win, and excited to see how Coach Liddick, how they're going to grow under Coach Liddick this year. They're really young. They've only got 2 seniors with Opperly and Draven Collins, and I think they've got a chance to maybe compete in the CIC a little bit, and I don't feel like there's anybody that stands out right now. I could be wrong. I think we'll learn a little bit more about Eastbrook Friday night. They go down to Frankton, and that's never an easy place to go play. But
yeah, if any team has stood out so far, it's Frankton, probably.
Yeah, and I think they're probably the team with the most experience that's coming back. I know Oak Hill's got a couple of seasoned guards, but yeah, outside of that, I think it could be an entertaining season in the CIC. I know Grant 4 is coming up December 28th, and I really feel like any one of the 4 teams.
They all seem about even right now.
We'll have a chance to, if you get hot that day, you can cut down those nets at Oak Hill on the 28th.
The Panthers are now 2-0 at home and goes back on the road for a couple of CIC games before the Grant 4 tournament at Oak Hill just after Christmas. They go to Frankton on Friday, then 0-3 Alexandria next Friday. Class A number 4 Liberty Christian scored a season-high 93 points and blew out Muncie Burris 93-29 in Muncie on Tuesday. The Lions are now 3-2. Burris remains winless through 3 games and has been outscored by 49 points per game so far. The 93 points scored is the Lions' most since December 20th, 2020, a 94-44 win over Phelan Academy. It's their most points away from home since December 4th, 2020, when they scored 95 points and a 95-57 win over Indianapolis Riverside. It's Liberty's 4th straight win over Burris. The Owls host 2-2 Randolph Southern in the only local game Thursday. Then they face number 7 Lapel in a shootout at the Muncie Fieldhouse at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Burris will play for its first win when it hosts Randolph Southern on Thursday. Now to Wednesday's only local game. 4-0 Anderson Prep has its toughest test of the season Wednesday when it goes to Cambridge City for its third consecutive road game. The Jets are 4-0 for the first time in program history. In fact, they had never started 2-0 since the program's inception in 2010. They opened with a 3-point win over Alexandria, then blew out Elwood, Purdue Poly North, and Central Christian. They're beating teams by an average of 24 points per game. Senior Lincoln Fathauer is the reigning Central Indiana Sports Report Player of the Week after he scored 53 points on 68% shooting with 12 steals, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists and 2 wins last week. Cambridge City is 11-0 all-time against the Jets. The Golden Eagles beat APA 63-49 last year. This season, they're 2-1 with back-to-back wins over Geo Next Generation and International. After giving up 75 points in their season opener against West Dell, Cambridge City surrendered just 31 points combined in those 2 wins. The Sagarin rating says it should be a close one. It says Cambridge City by 8. We'll take the Jets in a close one. Thanks to Scott Hunt for joining us today to talk about the Eastbrook Southern Wells game, and thanks to you for listening. Please go right now and like, subscribe, or follow us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music and YouTube so you don't miss a single segment. We're pretty new on YouTube, but not many people know about us. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report, and our podcast page will pop right up. We are growing very fast, but we would like to grow even faster, so it would be very helpful if you would tell a friend. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Sissy.